Today, let's talk a little bit about why purpose matters. I mean, let's face it, we kind of all know the deal, you know? Let's let's join the rat race. Let's get as far ahead as we can. Let's get comfortable. Let's win. Purpose, like who needs this fuzzy, feel-goody stuff called purpose, right? So let's dig into that a little bit. There's a quote from Carl Jung that I absolutely love that I feel speaks directly to this. He says, "The world will ask you who you are. And if you don't answer, the world will tell you." In other words, yes, we can go with the flow, jump into the collective script, do what we have to do to get ahead, kind of accept those external structures and labels that have been thrust upon us in the course of life. But there's another option. And the other option is to answer that question for ourselves by really, really taking that path of introspection and asking ourselves who we are. And this is the path of purpose. This is the path of purpose work. There's so much conditioning that we've inherited, from birth until about 6 or 7 years old. We're basically, sponges. Our conscious mind is not a really strong filter yet. Our subconscious mind is just absorbing all the subtle programming about everything, about finances, about relationships, about money, you name it, right? And so these become ingrained habits and beliefs and paradigms. And so by the time we're adults, we're just kind of running on these programs that we've inherited without really consciously thinking about if it's what we really resonate with, if it's really how we want to show up and experience the world. So if we can take Jung's question about who we are and answer it, at least attempt to answer it for ourselves, then this is what I call conscious transformation, right? We're taking the initiative to impress upon the world our own definition of ourselves. And that's why purpose work is so important. Now, there's another analogy that I like, and it's a piece of driftwood, right? Driftwood is actually kind of beautiful. I was just at an arts festival a few weeks ago, and there was a vendor who took driftwood off the shore of Florida and turned it into some amazing art. I mean, it's organic, it's weathered, it's beautiful, aesthetically beautiful. And there's a romance to it, right? Like who knows when it fell into the ocean and it's been floating around for years, maybe decades. How many thousands of miles has that piece of driftwood traveled around planet Earth? The wind and the waves and the weather just kind of taking it here and there. There's kind of a romance to that. And I think some of us think of our own lives in that way too. Like I just go with the flow. The waves and the wind and the storms of life have just taken me and they've weathered me. And there's kind of a romance to that, that I think gets reinforced in a lot of entertainment and culture. But I want to flip the perspective on that a little bit, because if you were to zoom out and look at that piece of driftwood, just kind of like floating across the ocean, you'll notice that it was quite aimless. It was quite aimless. It was just at the mercy of the wind and the waves and the weather, right? So here's where the analogy maybe gets a little bit cheesy, but it gets the point across. If we were to take that piece of driftwood and carve it into a boat, let's assume you're a master carpenter and you can turn that piece of driftwood into a boat. Maybe you can attach some sails. And then we have not changed the waves or the wind or the weather. We don't have control over that. But by transforming that piece of driftwood into a boat with some sails on it, we can now harness those forces to move in a direction that we want. That is purpose. Purpose is your own compass moving in the direction that you want to go. And it's amazing. Actually, a few years ago, I actually went on a real sailboat for the first time with a master sailor. And I was pretty ignorant about sailing, right? I just thought okay, depending on which way the wind is blowing, we're just going to have to adapt. But I was quite impressed and surprised to experience how a master sailor can take you in any direction you want to go by adjusting those sails. There's a science and an art to it, right? It doesn't matter which way the wind is blowing. And so this is purpose. This is purpose. your life is going to bring you ups and downs. You're going to fall. You're going to win. Things are going to shift constantly. But when you have a clear sense of purpose, you know which direction to let those forces push you. And you are in control. You have your compass set, right? This is beautiful. And to do this, however, means getting beyond all of that programming that we've inherited. Because in the beginning, we don't even know. We don't even know. This is why, for me, purpose work has to get us beneath those programs. We have to get back into the body. We have to get back into our childhood memories where a lot of those clues are about our compass. What really lit us up and brought us joy before all those programs had really, really been installed, right? There are huge clues there. There are huge clues all over our life, but it takes some introspection and some practice. Okay, I have a free insight sheet for you with some more thoughts and a couple of journaling exercises to help you begin and continue this process of tuning in beneath the thinking mind and just getting more and more of a sense of what is that compass for you, because that's really what it comes down to, is finding your compass and then living by your compass. And we can all do it. It's our right as human beings.